Hey everybody, welcome to the Blue Chip Podcast by fans for fans. This is your host Cody Potter. How are we doing today? We're going to get into some more Senior Bowl recaps. We have a hiring for the Commanders, so we're going to definitely talk about that. Can't go too far into it because, honestly, it's the same thing. It's kind of why I left out doing a pod on David Blau, things like that. First time OC. We are going to have ourselves a first time defensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders. Honestly, Durante Jones, congratulations on the hire. I do like the tree that we're coming from. He's a guy that worked under Mike Zimmer. He's been all over the place, whether it's Division III college, Division I college, high school, things like that. Man, I mean, this guy's definitely put in his time, worked his ass off, and to be Flores, who we know to be a difficult kind of guy to deal with, things like that. He's very much himself. He's not going to try to appease anybody, things like that. For Durante Jones, man, this is our new DC going forward. To come from the Flores tree, that blitz style, the type of defense that you want to have, man, attacking. It's the same thing that I always predicate on offense, man. What I'm always saying on offense, man, dictate the flow. Dictate the flow of the game. Tell the defense what they're going to be able to do. You're going to make them work for it. Be aggressive, things like that. Well, that's what they do on defense. And when you run that scheme, that's how you do it, man. They blitz a ton, and that's why this draft is so pivotal, man. You weren't going to get the Brian Flores. You probably weren't really going to have a chance at the Gannons because you knew these guys were going to go to a place where they were more established and things like that. We're going to get into our Senior Bowl coverage, but again, I kind of put off the Blau episode to kind of get into this. Dan Quinn hiring 2 first-time coordinators that have never called plays. I like it, man. Personally, you got what you wanted, man. You went to a more traditional style offensive coach. He's going to be creative. He's going to put us in some normal offensive formations, which is what Jayden Daniels needs to improve upon. He needs to be playing under center. We need to have more traditional run sets, having the zone blocking scheme and things like that, coming from that type of tree. Where he coached with Ben Johnson and things like that, being kind of like a player's coach as he was a backup during his playing career at quarterback. Man, they say he's David Blau is everything you're hoping that you're getting when you think about coming from like the guys that he's worked under so far. Detroit wanting him back, and then you getting a Durante Jones who was Flores' man. Realistically, man, we have no expectations. And what I love about this, and this is the reason that I'm kind of giddy about the hire, is you're going to the type of defensive attack and the type of offensive predications that you're looking for systematically. You don't know how these guys are going to call games, but the benefit in that is neither do any of these other coaches. There is no tendencies to go off of. You haven't seen them call plays anywhere before. You don't know what the guy's going to want to do on third down. He's going to be able to be very versatile and attack you in different ways. And honestly, if you continue that as you start to build your reputation and start to make a name for yourself, it can only make you even better and more unpredictable going forward. So these guys have a chance of not having film on them and how they call a game and how they work on game flow and things like that. And the things that they want to do. Because they're all coming from a different background. They've all seen different styles and different, schemes, and they've taken a little thing from everything, just like we all do in our own lives. So again, it's what you want, and it gives you the unpredictability that you kind of want to have. The biggest thing is does it work for Jayden Daniels? That is the biggest key to the team's future success, is developing this quarterback in the first 5 years. Quarterbacks, the game tends to slow down for them after the first 5 years, but the biggest development leap is always in them first 5 years. And the biggest thing that you want to see from Jayden Daniels is, one, for him to learn how to protect himself while he's on the field when he's making the plays, knowing when to get rid of the ball, and knowing when the play needs to die, and moving on to the next play to be available for his teammates. But that's something that Jayden Daniels is going to have to do. But being able to come out into a more traditional set is only going to allow us to be more versatile on offense while we're still running the same college scheme and things like that, that we've been doing to keep Jayden Daniels comfortable, because you're always going to lean back on those type of play calls and things like that when things aren't really working for you, because it's what he's comfortable doing. So basically on to the Senior Bowl, man. I said I'm going to highlight a player every day. The cool thing about the Senior Bowl is a lot of the Indiana players and the Miami U players, they accepted their invites. They're not going to be at the game. I mean, they just played a week ago. This isn't a normal thing. The Senior Bowl is so close to the national title game that, these guys wanted to do it, but realistically, it just wasn't going to match up schedule-wise, which allows me to focus my thing on, which I was going to do anyway. I wasn't going to highlight Ruben Bain. I wasn't going to highlight David Bailey. I could do that because these guys are such integral pieces, but we're going to talk about them so much on the pod moving forward that I'm going to give these other guys that I really, really like their shine. And just that's why I went with Ephesians Prysock yesterday. He's just one of the pet players that I really, really like. I like his build. I like his makeup. I like what I see on tape. I think he fits. Now that we actually know who our defensive coordinator is, which is the reason that you want to make this hire as soon as you can, especially being down at the Senior Bowl. Now you know what you're looking for, and that's only going to, get more acclimated as we go through the draft process, as they get into interviews and these guys start to ask these players questions and things like that. They haven't been for team meetings and things like that. You're really good. Adam Peters is going to be able to look around and be like, look, man, this is what you like. This is what you're looking for. I'm going to find these traits for you. Check out this guy, things like that. They're going to bounce things off of each other, and hopefully everything is in sync by the time that April comes around. And that's why we do all this. So, again, man, getting into the Senior Bowl and everything like that, I'm very, very excited for this class, man. And this is a player that I really, really do like. And this is actually one player that is from Indiana, but it's Kalen Black, the Indiana running back. I'm pretty sure that he actually did accept his invite, is going to be there and things like that. So we're going to look for him to have a big week. Running backs aren't going to get their shine so much in practice and things like that. This is some tape from him from JMU, but it's also going to link up with some Indiana tape. I'm just playing that in the background for what we're talking about, man. But this is a physical running back, man. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but yet he's built big. Runs behind his pads really good. I love the contact balance, man. Just churns yards and just puts positive yards on the play, man. I mean, he's a durable guy. He stayed healthy every year in college, man. This is a player that I really, really like. He's not, your traditional 230-pound thumper and things like that, man, because he's got some juice. He's a guy that I look at Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt and, Chris Rodriguez, and I'm just like, man, this guy fits. Especially if we do go to a more traditional set on offense and things like that. And when I think about a more traditional set in offense and things like that, man, you look no further than what JMU, and look what, the way that they run their offense. They run under center. They run, a traditional set run packages and things like that with the zone blocking scheme. So it's just a schematical fit. He's a guy that can catch out of the backfield. He's just a guy that I really, really like. Which is why I highlighted him for this week of practice and things like that. He's a guy that I'm really, really looking forward to see him play. If he's not playing, I'm sorry, then maybe I did waste a day, because I do know that the Indiana players might not be playing in this game. I know Elijah Surratt's not going to end up playing. Like I said, man, David Bailey will be playing from Texas Tech. He wasn't in the national title game. But again, the Elijah Surratts, the Ponds, and the guys, that played in the national title, they're not going to play. But I do think that Keon Black is going to play. A couple other guys that I do really, really like that I'm going to highlight going through this process is Lee Hunter, man, the defensive tackle, man. I think this guy is going to be he's pretty much already a first-round lock for me at defensive tackle. I think he really, really allowed David Bailey and Romello Height, another guy that I've really, really liked from Texas Tech, man. Honestly, there's a lot of players on that Texas Tech defense, man. Whether you're looking at Indiana, Texas Tech, Miami, Ohio State, you're going to look around the league and the college football realm and the players that are available in this draft. And if you draft from these pools, you're going to get a really, really solid football player, and they're going to end up being value picks at the time that they get picked. Lee Hunter is going to be a guy that I think the bag is just out on, man. I think this guy is a dominating run stopper. Gets tackles, I think 30 tackles for loss over the course of the last 2 years or something like that, man, which is insane. The burst and just the hand speed and just everything, the power that he puts behind his hands. Big physical, just interior defensive tackle, just disruptor. This guy is going to be a workhorse going forward in the NFL, man. This guy's going to be a disruptive presence in the interior, which is where I think the game really gets started, man. We all talk about the edges and things like that, man, but I'm a defensive tackle kind of guy. I'm a middle linebacker kind of guy. I think that, to have a great defense, it starts in the middle. It starts with the middle line, the defensive tackles first, and then I think the edge rushers really, really contain and disrupt the game plan because there's no pocket to step up into, and they're the guys that usually reap the rewards of those type of things. But when you have a dominating quarterback at the middle linebacker position, the quarterback of the defense, you have the nose tackle that's getting good penetration, keeping the linebackers clean, man. It's how the defense works in sync with each other. It improves your run defense and things like that. The way that the NFL is going, these linebackers have to be able to cover. So that's why, guys like Sonny Styles that I talked about yesterday, that Daniel Jeremiah mocked to us, it's going to be, pivotal for guys like that going forward. That's why I like Daron Payne. Javon Kinlaw does a really, really good job at eating up space. That's where, we're looking to see a little bit more from Johnny Newton, man. He's more of a disruptor in the pass game. He's a get after it kind of guy. He's not going to take on the blocks and really eat up double teams and things like that and keep linebackers clean. He's a situational kind of pass rusher right now. Doesn't mean he can't clean his game up and become more of a versatile guy that gets a lot of tackles for loss in the run game. He did it at Illinois. But as I said multiple times with Jer'Zhan Newton, man, he's a guy that is a volume rep guy. Like, he needs to be on the field 75, 76% snaps. Currently in Washington, in his first 2 years, he's been hovering around that 40 to 36 percentile, and that's just not going to get it done for him. Not as a priority pick as we made in him. But again, man, Lee Hunter, man, I hear he's tearing it up out there. I'm not giving you my day one practice report because I haven't watched the whole thing yet on either side. So these are just things that I'm kind of throwing out there because I knew Lee Hunter was a guy that I wanted to highlight just in case Keon Black isn't in the game. He's a guy that you're going to get to know, man. He's going to be a day one pick. He's going to get picked probably in the top 15 if everything goes how I would expect it to go, and things like that. So these are the things that we're leading up into with the Senior Bowl and things like that, man. Really good safety class. We all know Caleb Downs. People talk about generational things like that. I talked about him yesterday with my concerns. The concerns would never stop me from drafting this player. What I see with the football IQ and things like that on tape, I really, really like. Just kind of throwing this out there at the safety position because there's a player that was in the East-West Shrine game that I really, really do like. I think he's going to be one of the value picks of the draft, especially at that position, is Jalen Husky, the University of Maryland strong safety. He's a guy that has a nose for the ball. He's a guy that fits defensively everything that you're looking for this type of defense, man, especially with pressure packages and things like that, man. He had a couple sacks, and he's just a very versatile piece. Everything that Caleb Downs can give you, this guy's a little bit lesser version of that. I mean, he's going to be an older player and things. He's an older prospect and things like that. He does, he's just not the blue chip, 5-star guy that came out of high school that excelled, in collegiately at Ohio State or Alabama. He played at Maryland and things like that. Was a transfer over from another school before. But Jalen Husky was a guy that really, really shined in the East-West Shrine game, and he was a guy that I wanted to give a little bit of pub to because I do like this safety class. Same with the linebackers, same with the edges, same with the defensive tackles. Honestly, this defensive class is loaded. And honestly, for a team that is searching for an identity and searching for long-term pieces on defense, man, if we made every pick in our draft defensively this year, I don't think that's going to happen. Or, I mean, even if it did happen, it's not something that's going to hurt this roster. You still want to be able to build around Jaden Daniels and things like that. You're going to do that in free agency. You're going to bring in pieces on the defense either way in free agency because it comes before the draft. You don't go into the draft trying to draft for need. You go into the draft trying to draft the best players available. And when I look around this draft class, everything outside of offensive line and offensive tackle early in the round one, the value is there round one, but again, for what we have right now, you would just be log jamming in position because you're about to allocate more assets, contractually to Laramie Tunsil to re-sign him. Josh Conerly's on a rookie deal. You have Brandon Coleman, who played left tackle before. He filled in for Laramie Tunsil this year, left tackle. He does a really good job at it, but you still picked him in the third round. He's a player that you want on the field more than what you've seen from him so far, at least his second season. And as a development piece, I think picking a position for him long term and letting him stick at it, and then if he has to play the swing tackle, in situations where Josh Conerly misses a rep or gets a little banged up and things like that, because that happens in the NFL, I think Brandon Coleman needs to find his spot at guard and be next to Laramie Tunsil moving forward. Give him the whole offseason to do that and allow him, the opportunities to thrive in that role because he can do it. He did it at TCU, and it's another thing that we need to look forward to. drafting offensive line in the 3rd to 5th round. I think there's going to be a little sweet spot there for a lot of, interior offensive linemen and things like that. I think offensive center is a developmental piece that Washington really needs to be considering. There's 3 guys that I really, really like that are going to go either day 1, day 2 at the latest. Unless something comes up with the medical, maybe they fall to round 3, but I just don't see it, and I simply don't see it simply because of the size that they play with and the athletic ability and the on-tape ability to pull and the things that I saw from them, the boy from Iowa, the boy from Florida, and things like that. But again, like I said, if we were to go into this draft and it ended up being every pick that we picked was on defense, honestly, there's going to be value on the defensive side of the ball at every position in every round because this defensive draft is loaded. There is a tier fall off. It's something that I have noticed in this draft is I got about 11 to 12 really, really, really good locked in first round grades. True ones. Lee Hunter is in that. And when I say true first round grades, I'm talking like top 15 locks first round grades. Right after those top 11 players, man, I have a lot of guys that I haven't finished up my grading. This is why the Senior Bowl is so pivotal for me. I know by the time the draft comes around, I'll probably have about 18, 21, somewhere around that range just from what I'm seeing so far, my expectations of what I'm about to see in the next couple weeks. But again, we just got to go forward with what we have right now based off notes. I'm going to go back after, the Senior Bowl and things like that. I'm going to continue to watch this last year. I'm also going to take notes going forward for guys that are going to be draft eligible the next year, which is going to be a loaded class. And I think this next year's class is going to be crazy. I know everybody says that every year, but it just really is so top heavy. Honestly, I think it's going to be one to remember. Just like the 2024 quarterback class is, man. We've seen 4 quarterbacks that were honestly one play away. We would have had 4 quarterbacks from the 2024 class in the conference championship in their first 2 years, whether Jaden Daniels as a rookie who had the best statistical, honestly, one of the best rookie quarterback seasons that we've ever seen and postseasons because he carried his team. Honestly, even what Jaden Daniels did as a rookie last year, and he is a little bit further along in his development. He's a little bit older than Drake May. He's a little bit older than Caleb Williams, not older than Bo Nix, of course, but again, he's a little bit older in age, so his development was a little bit further along. You saw him just seamlessly transition into the playoffs, play it the same way that he played the season. He was very dynamic as a passer, and we're hoping to get right back to that because Jaden Daniels is a very, very special player, man. There was no wrong pick, if you ask me, man. Jaden Daniels was a special player at LSU. He's a really good player at Arizona State, elevated his game, and he's done everything on and off the field to, reap the reward of everything that we've seen so far. He deserves all the praise. Like I said, there are things with every player. When I make a comment on what a player needs to work on, when I'm seeing it on tape, these players know what they need to work on. I'm not knocking them by any means. It's just something that any player does. Anybody does it in their profession if they give a shit about it. They work to try to, work on their weaknesses and also excel in their strengths, and things like that, and clean things up just to be better at their own craft. And Jaden Daniels will do that, and I expect it. And the best thing that we can do as a team is put more weapons around him, is make sure that we're prioritizing keeping him clean, but also the other side of the ball. We have allocated a lot of assets because in years previous to Adam Peters and Dan Quinn getting here, we put a lot of assets in the first round, early rounds on the defensive side of the ball, and honestly, none of them are even here. So again, now we're rebuilding this defense from scratch, and that's why this defense has been rated where it has been, and that's why it looked like it has, and we've tried to make patchwork signings and trades and things like that. Some of them have worked, and some of them haven't. Some of them are older, and some of them are just going to get turned over and things like that, and that's why this draft is so pivotal. But when you look at this draft class and you look at the value that you're going to have in each round, this draft class fits perfectly for this team and the needs, and I think we're going to find a couple players. I think we're going to find 3 to 4 players in this draft that are going to turn some heads come, by the time we get to November in the season, man. They're going to be acclimated. They're going to have their own good role into this defense. I also think guys that we drafted in the 2024 class, whether it's Jordan McGee, Mikey Samerstill, now that they're in their 3rd year and things like that going forward, they're going to have a very impactful thing because they're smart players. And I think the defensive scheme that we're headed to, at least off of what you can project off of the defensive coaching tree that he's come from, I think these guys fit very much what we're looking to go forward with. Mikey Samerstill is a guy that can blitz off the edge. He's a very, very physical football player for his size, and he's a playmaker. So if you're going to be blitzing at a rate, a high clip, Flores was blitzing, I believe, around 48% this year. So 48% of his plays. We're not talking about third downs. We're talking 48% of his snaps. His defense was bringing blitzes. At Michigan brings a lot of pressure under Jesse Minter, who's now the Ravens head coach, which congratulations to him. I think that's a good fit. It fits the Baltimore culture. It's what they've always done. The way that he attacks on defense and things like that, it starts up front, things like that. That's the same thing that it does under Flores, but the back end is a very, very big priority because you're left on an island a lot of times, and these are players that can be left on an island, but they're also going to be used interchangeably to come forward and rush the passer and things like that exotically, and that's what this defense needs. It needs to be more exotic. It needs to have pressure coming at the quarterback from all angles, man. Keep them guessing and keep attacking. Dictate to the offense what they can do because you're giving them these looks and you're doing it exotically, and you're going to back some out sometimes, and then the next play that guy's coming, and you're just going to interchange it. And that's what I like about this the hires going forward, at least systematically. But again, we got to see how these guys call plays. We're going to see their tendencies. We're going to know by week 8, hey, these teams have been doing this against us. We're going to see the NFL catch up to them because these coaches are going to say, okay, we got a little bit of game tape on them. We see how these guys are calling their defense. We're going to adjust to it and see how it affects us. And that's going to happen on offense and defense because how teams are attacking us defensively, how teams are going to come at us offensively, it's really going to change, come week 8. We're really going to see how they are able to handle the adjustments and things like that moving forward. But for Jayden Daniels, for this defense, it's going to be a younger defense next year. Bobby Wagner probably is not going to be back. You're going to be looking at somebody to take over that Mike position. You're also going to want to see something coming from your last year's 5th-round pick at linebacker, the boy Kay Madranu out of UCLA, because he's a versatile piece that can come at the blitz. He's got elite level speed. 4.4 speed from the linebacker position is elite. That's blue chip. But tackling was an issue, things like that. He needed a bit, kind of bulk up and, add a little bit more physical presence to his game. But he also was a converted wide receiver. So over time in the NFL with NFL coaching, you're going to expect all that. But again, Kay Madranu has a role in this league. We're going to have to see it more on special teams. We're going to also have to see it defensively. You want to see it show up because you want to see packages where he's coming like he's about to blitz and then he drops out in coverage and covers a tight end and mans up his guy. Because that's what the Jeremy Chin role said, has always been in this defense. The strong safety role has always been the defense for the defensive strong safety's responsibility to cover that tight end on a lot of passing situations and things like that. If you have an interchangeable linebacker that can do that mixed with the strong safety position, which is why I do like Caleb Downs, is why I like Jalen Husky, is why I'm mentioning these names. It's just more versatility that you can do when you're bringing Caleb Downs in on a safety blitz and you're dropping Kay Madranu back and you're not having a big severe drop-off in coverage on the tight end that's running out. And you can man up with him because he has the elite speed and size to do it. It's just a more versatile way to attack these offenses that you really want to have. And there are some versatile pieces here, and you want to see this coaching staff maximize these players. It's going to be an attitude, it's going to be an adjustment, and this defense is going to be a lot more difficult, and the communication is going to be even more important. Are they going to give up big plays? Of course they're going to give up big plays. When you're rushing the passer at that type of clip, bringing that type of pressure, you're going to come into the wrong. There's going to be an open gap every now and then in the run game. They're going to break a play. It's just what happens. It's, the quarterback's going to get all blocked up. The running back's going to chip on a defender that's coming free. Everything works out. The quarterback's going to get one play over the top. Perfect ball, uncoverable for the defensive back. Is just going to happen. That's what it's going to be. That's just the nature of the game. But to be able to be more exotic and bring the pressure to the quarterback and dictate game flow and things that they can and cannot do, to take certain plays out of the playbook because you can't run into certain blitzes and certain coverages all the time, it's just something that this defense really, really needed. It's a very welcome addition. So again, congratulations to our new offensive and defensive coordinator, respectively. We'll see how these guys fill out their staff. We still need offensive line. We did finally fill the offensive line coach with guys that were here. And these are young and up-and-coming coaches, man. I think Dan Quinn is really, I think he has trust in his staff, man. I didn't think he wanted to overhaul this whole staff. I mean, when he came here, he brought in a respected staff, and he brought in a lot of youth behind the respected names. And I think that's why you continue to see these guys staying here, is because he knew at some point these guys were going to be able to take bigger bigger responsibilities. That's what he's preached, and that's what I think we're seeing going forward. So again, I expect this team to be turned around a little bit differently next year, man. We should be more competitive. Keeping Jayden Daniels healthy goes a long way into that. Also improving in the run department more consistently and not having the fumbles and things like that. We need to see Jacory Krosky-Merritt, Bill. We need to see him clean the fumbles up and things like that. I loved what I saw from Chris Rodriguez. I want to see him take the next step too next year, because honestly, man, you're only as good. Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, that tandem is deadly. You look at Penn State, you look around the college football landscape, you look around the NFL landscape. It takes a core, and each one has a different skill set, and each one brings something different to different element to their game. And adding a Keon Black or a Keon Black that's why I highlighted him earlier. And again, I mean, there's multiple running backs in this draft. I do like the running back class too. You got Singleton, you got Allen, Katron Allen. I mean, the names go on and on. Black, I mean, Jeremiah Love is a blue chip. I mean, he's a true dynamic blue. Probably the highest overall grade that I have for anybody in this class. Maybe not, Nate Mendoza. Again, this isn't me even pushing up the quarterback class. I really do just like Fernando Mendoza. I think he is a true number one first overall pick. I think his grade, his tape, everything that he showed this season to lead his team to a national title, go through the adversity, and just everything that you've seen him do and elevate his stock from Cal, almost very similar to what I believe Jayden Daniels would have done if there was any kind of defense on that LSU offense, on that LSU team, back in 2023. Again, but so again, this is the Blue Chip Podcast. I said I'm going to get a pod to you every day, talking about the Senior Bowl tomorrow. I have a more in-depth of the practice reports, the John Carroll wide receiver and things like that. I already heard some things like that. Like I said, I'm going to go watch it now. And again, I appreciate you guys stopping by. We're going to talk Senior Bowl all week. We're going to go into next week. Had to talk about the coaching hires. And again, man, have a blessed week. Thank you guys for checking out the Blue Chip Podcast. This is your host, Cody Potter, out.